Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hi folks, Dave with DBS Tech Talk, and today we're going to talk about the TFZ No.3. I want to thank inToit Reviews for sending these over for a review. Do greatly appreciate it. inToit, you rock. Check out the links down below for a link to inToit's YouTube channel, and if you haven't already, give him a subscription. Alright, so the TFZ No.3s came to me in non-stock form for the most part. They came in the little TFZ carrying bag, which is okay, and then they came this way, so no cable and just the IEM. And inToit did include a alternate cable, which is a copper cable with a 2.5 millimeter balanced connector. I did not use that cable very much at all. Did not care for the TFZ No.3s unbalanced. So going forward, all sound impressions will be based off of using the King Edition cable. So the King Edition cable is what I used instead. So I'm not exactly sure how close this cable is to stock, but it's the cable that I used and I preferred with the IEM. Since I did not get any stock tips, I also used alternate tips from what you will get in the package. And one of the stock tips that I use are spin fits. These are the CP240. And then also I used the CP140, and truly enjoyed both of those. I'll put links down below so that you can pick those up if you want. So the IEMs are rather on the chunky side, about as wide as my finger, and have a nice curve to them. Have a decent angle for the nozzle. The bore is a 6.0 millimeter. You do have a 2-pin 0.78 millimeter connector, and I really enjoy that carbon fiber look. On the back side, you can see the big 11.4 millimeter driver and all the wiring and connectors inside there. These are a nice IEM to look at. When you put tips on them and a cable, they seal fairly well, and the comfort, some may find it comfy, some may not, just depending on the size of your ears. If you have smaller ears, especially smaller ear holes, you may find these not to be comfortable at all. I do not have a problem with them for short periods of time. Long periods of time, I have a little bit more of an issue. I can get about an hour's worth of listening time on them before they start to really get painful for my ears, just because of that 6 millimeter bore. But for the most part, build quality, comfort, design, look, it's about a 7.5 or 8 in my book. How do they sound? Well, they sound a little different with both tips. So the CP140 tip is going to give you a little bit more air, a little bit more soundstage, but a little less impact in the bass. And you might get a little more increase in detail retrieval. The 240 tip, which is the duals, is going to give you better isolation, better bass impact, and more thump, a little bit closed in soundstage, and a little more treble. really enjoy both of them. I recommend both tips, but for the most part, my main review thoughts will be with the CP140s. So the TFZ No.3, they have a fun factor to them. This is a mild V shape with a deep impactful bass, warm mids, and just enough sparkle and energy in the treble to keep things exciting. Bass. I find that the bass on the TFZ No.3s is just this is for bass heads. If you like a bass head IEM with good detail retrieval, TFZ No.3 may be a wise pick for you. They reach down deep into the sub-bass regions. They have good extension. They have a nice punch to them and a really good just body to them. Very well, yeah, you're gonna feel it when it's called upon in the track, and for the most part, it's fairly well controlled. Busier tracks, you'll get a little bit of muddled jumbledness to it, but for the most part, very well controlled, and have a really nice just fun factor to the bass. I really enjoy the bass on the TFZ No.3. Going into the mids, you do get a little bit of bleed from the bass, and that gives it a nice warm fullness and just a bodiness to it, and the mids sound natural, and they're just enjoyable and romantic. They're not the most neutral sound. They're not the cleanest mids around, but they do have a decent clarity to them. You do get a little bit of graininess on some tracks, and they, especially more in the upper mids region, it'll be a little bit on the you'll get a little bit of that grain every now and then. Also, you get a little bit of harshness depending on the track, but for the most part, it's a fairly clean mid region that's very enjoyable. It is slightly recessed from the bass and slightly recessed from the treble. As you go into the treble, 5K and up, you will, about 8K it'll peak, and then it'll start to roll off, and then 12K-ish, it's a really steep roll off. You get a nice energy, good detail retrieval, and a little bit of airiness to it, and it's enough to really just keep the music energetic, keep your toes tapping, and give you enough of the details flowing in. I never really found myself wishing for more treble, but if there was a little bit more, I probably wouldn't have complained. Where it peaks at 8K is well controlled. There's not a lot of harshness or sibilance or sharpness to it. It does have a little bit of a brighter tint, but it's very well controlled. And unlike a Tin Hi-Fi T4, where it was very aggressive and really hurt my ears, the No.3s never got in that region for me. Soundstage wise, depending on which tip you use, is going to be either average or a little bit less than average. With the single CP140s, it'll sound about average wide. With the CP240 dual flange, it'll sound a little closer and a little more intimate. It does an average job with the soundstage that is provided of giving you isolation and separation of instruments. They don't sound like they're on top of each other, but they don't sound super spaced out either. But you can definitely tell what instrument is what, and you get a little bit of depth and width as far as where they're seated. But you don't have that really immersive soundstage where things are whizzing around your head or anything of that sort. It's more just a straight across soundstage from right to left, and things are just kind of blocked in place. The center image is a little bit more strong than the right and the left is, in my opinion, on the soundstage, but it's adequate for the price tag, and it adds into the fun factor of the number 3s. I find that the TFZ number 3 really impressed me. They really surprised me, especially when I compared them to a Blonde BL03. Blonde BL03 has a little bit wider of a soundstage and a little bit better placement within the soundstage. Doesn't do quite as well on the detail retrieval. And I found that the number 3 had the more fun factor of the bass, the more thumpy, just enjoyable. I still like the Blonde BL03's bass, but I really enjoy the number 3 bass. Going to a FIO FH1S, the FH1S is a lot more neutral and has a brighter signature to it, but you do get better detail resolution and a little bit more of a presentation that is analytical and critical listening for the price point. iBosso IT01, also the same way, better detail retrieval and also more of a brighter signature. Overall though, I recommend the TFZ number 3s. I really enjoy these. They have been a fun one for me, and they are a just I'm going to chill back and relax IEM. It's not my preferred sound in an IEM, but it is a actual very enjoyable IEM for me. And considering that I really didn't know what to expect out of them, I was pleasantly surprised. So inToit Reviews, I do greatly appreciate you sending over the TFZ number 3s. And I give them a thumbs up. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next videos, somewhere on the screen is going to be a notification and subscription link. Check those off if you haven't already. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And also, don't forget to check out the links down below for inToit Reviews channel. Subscribe to him. And also for links to PayPal, Patreon, Discord, emails, playlists on Tidal and Deezer that were used to review the TFZ number 3s, and all kinds of other good things. Thanks.